Hi, welcome to Maptive and welcome to your demo. In this, we're going to go through every single tool and explain what you can do with it, give you ideas, and we can get started. You'll first log in, you'll come to this page. This is the home page, and you can create your map using any of these buttons here. I'm going to grab this one, name that map. Hit continue. You can add a file that's going to be Excel, an XLSX or XLS file. You can paste your data. You can start with a blank map, or you can use Google Sheets. I'm going to add my file. Once the file is loaded, you get this matchup that appears, the categorize data. So it's matching our address column to address. I don't have an address line 2. Nothing needs to be matched there. City to city, state to state, zip code to zip code. And I happen to have latitude and longitude in my data. This is all matched correctly, and I'm going to hit done. The data that I loaded looks like this. So I have address as a column, city, state, zip code, as you noticed in that categorize dialog box. I have county, I have name. Any columns that you include should make sense for your data. You can include any information that would be useful for you, both to use as filters as the map, as well as to be able to see on those markers. So each marker that you have is a line of that data, and everything that you include in that line of data will show in that marker. So for instance, we can see everything that we've included. Here's the address, phone number, everything that I've included in that line of data for this particular location is right there. You've got a lot of tools that you can use to manipulate your maps, manipulate your data. Your toolbox is here on the top left corner where it's the wrench and screwdriver. When we click that, we open up to a menu showing us all of the tools that you have available. We're going to start at the top and work our way down. So the grouping tool will change the colors of the markers based on any groups in your data. Now you can do that by numeric data like sales, or you can do that by salesperson, where this is going to change the colors of my markers based on those salespeople. You have the ability to customize any of those groups as well by clicking on the marker to the right of each group within the grouping tool. You do have the ability to add a secondary grouping. Adding a secondary grouping simply gives us that drop-down showing all the column headers in my data once again, and I can choose any of those columns to use either numerically or by group as well. The filter tool is next, and you'll be able to go into filter settings to edit those filters. And in here we see, again, on the left-hand side, every column header in my data. Your column headers will be different. And then you have the choices in here to choose group, text, number, attribute, and date. And remember, you don't have to choose a filter for every single thing, but you can choose filters that make sense for your data, for the users that are going to be able to use this, whether that's yourself or the public. So you can do things like state by group, but address doesn't really group very well. We can set a text filter for name, and these automatically save for us. I can do my sales by number. I can do multiple category column, which we will filter by attribute. These are groups separated by semicolon within the program. I also have a date column that I can do date. The eyeball is the ability to show or hide any of these filters on the shared map. So I can turn off anything I don't want the shared or public map to be able to see, just like that. It won't hide it from you. It will just hide it from them. So as you can see, we still have sales, even though I've got it hidden. Salesperson looks just as it did in the grouping tool. It followed us here from there. Filter by text, you have the ability to enter a name in this case because I'm added this to my name column, and that will give me the ability to search for all of my Michaels, which will give me just my 3 locations. We can then clear the filter here or here. Sales filter by numerically gives you the ability to use the slider bar to slide it over, or you can set those exact ranges in these boxes here. You can filter by all of the filters at once. I just will run out of markers before I get there. This is my multiple category filter. These are separated by semicolon in each of these lines of data. So if I click on energy, everybody without energy will fall off the map. If we take a look at this location, we will see that my multiple categories actually start with automotive/transportation, semicolon building construction, semicolon energy, semicolon and manufacturing equipment, which is down here. So the attribute filter takes those attributes that are separated by semicolon and it filters it as individual groups. Date will filter the from date is the earliest date in my date column. The to date is the latest date in my date column. And then I can search for any date range. You can click up here again to get to all of the filters. Layering maps will allow you to layer multiple maps. I've only got 1 map created at the moment. You do have to have all of the maps created before coming to the layering. Routing and directions tool will help you create routes or optimize routes. You can add locations individually by clicking on those locations, clicking on tools, and clicking add to route. You also have the ability to simply lasso and fill locations by clicking that lasso and lassoing the locations that you want to create into a route. That lists these in here. If you wanted to create the optimized route here, you would set your starting location and you would set your end location, and then clicking the optimize will keep those static and will optimize all the stops in between. If you wanted to make it a round trip, you can click on the return location, add to route, and it will drop it at the bottom as well as the top. And then we can optimize that route. And our 1 and 7th stop is here, that's Ed. And then we have 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We see that our list has followed that order as well. And we see that we can see this is a 14-hour and 2-minute drive in perfect driving conditions. And these are each of the stops. Next, we have the Geographic Boundary tool, and this tool gives you the ability to add boundaries to your map, to color in boundaries based on your data, based on demographic information in the US and Canada, or just see the boundaries themselves. So if I wanted to see all of the US counties, I can add that boundary, and I'm still zoomed in pretty closely because of the route, which I'm going to remove, and we now see those county lines. As I zoom out, we can see them for the entire US. I'm just removing that boundary, but you do have that capability of it coloring in your locations. No fill, but you have numeric data, and numeric data gives you the ability to color it in by any of your numeric information like sales information, and you can color in In this case, I've chosen states. To color in like this, you have the ability to go into boundary settings and adjust those colors, those weights. This is how it is listed in here. Instead of numerically, you do have the ability as well to color these in by group or territory data, and you can do that by simply choosing my group and territory data. And again, we come to our column headers in that data, and in this case I will choose my salesperson column, and then we will see our states colored in by salesperson. If I then go into boundary settings and combine groups, we'll see that my territory names show up and those states are connected now when I hover over any of them. You also have the ability to do marker count and location density. That's going to color it in sort of like a heat map, but based on the specific boundary that you choose. I'm again choosing states just for my example, and you do have that ability to go into boundary settings, make adjustments to the different breakouts and things like that. Lastly, you've got demographic census information that you can access and color in any of those boundaries that demographics are attached to. So you can get that in US states, counties, zip codes, and some of the others as well, plus Canada also. Next tool in here is the territory drawing tool, and this, you can actually get to both of them from here, just so that you know. You can load territories that you've drawn on other maps, or you can create new territories here, and manually creating them, you either can select locations or start drawing. I'm going to start drawing. You will name that territory group. Then it will ask you to click to start drawing, click to start drawing your polygon, click the map again to add additional vertices to the polygon outline, click the first vertex, and so forth. So you're basically drawing a polygon on the map. And so I can make this any size I wish, any shape I wish, and it can come all the way out here into the ocean, even though there's nothing there for it to gather. And we can simply close that. Now we can adjust this now if we want to. And then you can hit save when you're ready, and we will name this. You can change the fill color to anything you wish. You can change the opacity. When we hit save, we will see it here. This has its own pop out. You can then customize those metrics to see your data or demographic information from within that drawn polygon. When you draw a territory on one map, it becomes available on all of your maps to use. If you edit a territory on one map, it edits it on all of your maps. If you delete it using a garbage can, you delete it permanently. But if you delete it, removing it from the map, that doesn't remove it permanently. The next option is the auto territory builder. And yes, we could have gotten here the other way as well. This is an additional subscription. Please reach out to us if you're interested in this, but you do have the ability to try this out. Pick right now it's just in the US, but you can pick a block type like zip codes, and then you can use your data or demographic information to have the AI build your territories for you. If you are interested in this, reach out to sales@maptive.com and we'll help you and discuss options. Distance radius circles gives you the ability to put radius on the map anywhere you wish. You can enter an address. Remember, if you're entering an address, include city and state, or at least zip code. You can also right-click anywhere on the map and add radius like that. Or you can click on a location and click add radius this way. Now, the radius can be with miles or kilometers, and when we enter that, we can choose the color, we can choose the borderline, we can just add that proximity. Now, right now we're seeing the pop-up on the right for that marker, but now the radius itself has its own pop-out, and we're going to go ahead and customize metrics here, and you see that you can choose any of the column headers in your data. The information that you can update is going to be the same as the others that I've showed you, but numerically, and then group count gives you the list, and you can also show demographics in here. We are seeing a little bit of that right here, but you can add anything that you'd wish to see. You can add as many radius on the map as you'd like at once. You, in fact, have the ability to add them as a group of radius. So this would use a column in your data, like salesperson, and then you can simply choose that and add your radius to all of those markers. Like that. Next tool in the toolbox is the drive time polygon tool. You can get to this from the radius. As you can see, they are attached to one another, and it's still got my address remembered. So you have the ability to enter hours or minutes or both. So if you don't have any hours, you want to do 45 minutes, you just do this. And then you've got that. So I'm going to do 1 hour and 30 minutes here, and you can make this any color. Again, you have the border, you have all of that capability. This does take a moment to calculate. And then we have this drive time following each of the roads leaving the area. All of these little arms are reaching through to even small roads. This does have its own pop out. Of course, you have customized metrics again, that you have that capability, and both with the radius and with this tool in particular, you can actually export locations, which will export the information from within this drive time or the radius. It can include straight line distance from that center point to all of the markers, or driving distance from both the radius and the drive time. You can also export contained boundaries, things like zip codes. If we wanted to know what zip codes fall within this, you can actually export that information. You can also optimize the driving route. That will just take those locations and put it into the routing tool for you. The next tool is heat mapping. This can represent marker density and all markers in data or a specific group, or you can represent numeric data and then choose your numeric column, like my sales column. You can do it by all markers in data or specific group. Again, this is every column in the data. I'm going to do it for all markers. This will put the heat map on the map. You have the ability to show or hide your markers. Any of the tools we've been using, this button has been here, and you can hide that. You have the ability to adjust the radius, the opacity, and the threshold. You can set it to dissipate or unlink from other tools, which will allow you to filter, and you have your different colors that you can adjust if you wish. There's no way for us to tell you what the weights are, how they do the calculations. That is done by Google, and it's proprietary to them. The drawing tool is last, and this tool, we kind of suggest everybody just kind of play around in this a little bit. You can draw arrows, call outs, circles, though we'll usually advise you to go to the radius tool for this. Draw icons or markers. This is always fun to go through. You can upload your own display image. You can add labels, draw numbers, polygons, but go to the territory tool for this. Polylines, rectangles, again, territory tool, or draw text. So you've got all of those capabilities within here. Feel free to play. Delete all drawings is very easy to be able to undo that for you. On the right-hand side of the map, you've got several buttons over here. You've got the create a new map. You can create a map from anywhere. This won't affect the map that you're working in. It will just add another map to your lessons, and you can see all of the maps that you've got created. We just have the one right now. Location list will give you a list of the locations visible on the map at the time. So if I'm zoomed in, we're going to see a lot less locations than if we're zoomed very far out. Search bar gives you the ability to search and filter by your data, Google location matches, or search my data in Google location matches. You also have the ability to adjust whether or not it zooms in or only matches on exact word matches, as well as only show search matches on the map, which is hide all non-matching markers, or just highlight the matching markers. Satellite view changes your map from the original view to satellite view and back again. Show my location. If you have location services blocked, or if you hit the block button, it's not going to get you there. But allowing this to find you will place a temporary marker on the map showing where you are. If you hit block, you'll get that message. Export map image allows you to print a picture of the map, either a PNG, a PDF, or a JPEG. You can choose any of these export styles and then the export size as well. Distance calculator can calculate single point distance measurement from A to B, like this. Or it can do multiple distance measurements like this. And it can give you the square miles in this sense, but if it were smaller, it can give you the square feet. On the right-hand side, we have Location Finder. Location Finder is going to give you the 15 closest locations. You also have the ability to set that for how many you'd like it to find. And you can type in any zip code, full address, city, state, just state, anything like that. And what it's going to do is it's going to drop a temporary marker on the map. That's what I just searched for, and show us the 15 closest locations based on straight line distance from that location. The neat thing about this is if you also then, for instance, filter the map, and we were to filter for animal nutrition and health, my list will change because those markers will filter off of the map. So just an interesting little additive for that one. Next is the lasso tool. Now you saw me use this with the routing tool, but it has a few more tricks up its sleeve. So we can lasso an area or bunch of locations. And when we close that lasso, we can export locations to file. That's going to export the information from those markers to an Excel spreadsheet. Edit data as a group batch gives you the ability, for instance, if a salesperson leaves and you need to change all of their markers to be the new salesperson, this is the way you do it. Clicking on this, we get to see every column header in the data, and we're going to check the batch edit boxes on the right only for categories you want to batch edit to the same value or text. So basically, you're doing a bunch of locations, and what we want to do is we don't want to change all of those locations' address, for instance, but we want to change who their salesperson is. So we're going to type in that new salesperson's name, and that's going to automatically check. That tells it what it's doing. Now here's the thing. If we leave this blank, but we check this, that will clear all of these fields. These are not undoable actions, so I want to make sure that you're choosing. But if you change this, it's going to change all of those markers and the lines of data associated with them. You can optimize route to all locations. That's going to do what it did earlier. It's going to put it into the routing tool. Export contained boundaries to file gives you the ability, again, to export things like the whole list of zip codes that falls within that polygon that I drew, or the whole list of counties. And you have that capability of doing that export. Lastly is delete all locations. Don't click this unless you mean it. So delete all locations will delete the lines of data and those markers from the map permanently. Add a map marker to your map gives you the ability to input address information, which is going to give you all of the columns you already have in your data to fill in. Just leave anything that you don't have at that moment blank. You can add multiples by just clicking add another location, and that will clear the form, but it will remember what you did. And then when you get to the last one that you needed to enter, click map now, and it will locate those markers, add those lines of data to your data set. The other is place a map marker on your map. That's going to give you this little eyeball where you can just drop a marker randomly or specifically on the map if you get in closer. Export data will export the entire data set, the filtered data, or visible on the map. Visible on the map means if you're zoomed in and only seeing one marker, you're just going to get that information from that marker when you choose that option. Just as an aside, each marker you have the ability to edit the information. You can set customization, edit the data, upload images. You can customize the marker. You can customize info display or categorize data, but edit data would give you the ability on a drop marker to add all of the information that you wanted to add. You have the ability to add it to the route, add drive time polygon, or add radius. If you delete the marker, that deletes the marker and the line of data associated with it. Back to the left side, we're going to go into map settings. That's the gears. And in here, you have the ability to change the name of your map right up here at the top. You can add a description. That's up to you. And then we have 4 menus. Map markers and graphics is where you can change all the markers on the map. You have the ability to add labels. You can choose your uncluster below. Clustering is when it gives you these big blue bubbles. You can cluster with pie charts, which will turn them into pie charts based on your grouping tool, but you have all of those settings within here. Base map is where you can change the actual base map. You can also adjust the colors, etc. in that base map. Shared maps and presentational maps gives you the ability to turn off any tools they don't need and turn on any tools they do. This is for the non-licensed shared maps, where they have the ability to do things like filter or depending on what you're giving them the ability to do, but they can't make permanent edits. They can't export your data or anything like that. So as we go through, it offers the grouping, but since what we did in the grouping tool followed us to the filter tool and I need to give them more filters, I'm going to click that filter data locations, giving them that filter tool. For my map, they don't need the routing and directions, so I'm turning that off. They really don't need any of the other tools themselves. I am going to have the map tools menu start open so that they don't have to find that toolbox. I'm going to give them that location finder, the guy over here that we like the search for, and I'm going to turn off nearly everything, as you see. I don't want them to use the regular search. Satellite view is fine. Show my location. That's the one that if you tell it no, it says it doesn't work. It's just best to turn that off. For my map, distance calculator is useless for for those end users. And we're going to keep in mind that if we give them the ability to click on a button, they will click on it. So keep that in mind when you choose what you're showing. Street View is Google Street View. You do have the ability to turn that off. Markers visibility button is this guy. I'm going to say if there's no reason for them to turn them off, don't give them that option. You can restrict zoom levels. You can restrict panning. You can enable or disable columns or show or hide data on the marker. And showing or hiding data on the marker will actually hide that column as well. And you have the ability to turn off any information. And if I turn off sales, and if I turn off my latitude and longitude, which is towards the bottom, it doesn't hide it from us. It's only going to hide it from the shared map. So if we go into this person, we're going to see that the sales is still there, and so is latitude and longitude. So it's going to hide it on the shared map. You can show or hide data from the export. Exporting needs to be turned on with multiple stops in exporting data features. So just reach out to us if you're not sure how to do that. And once you've got this all set up, Save Map View is really if you have tools that you want to show on some maps, but not all of them, or if you're filtering the map and you want to save it in that filtered state, or if you're saving different routes. Most things will just save automatically, just the filtered state doesn't save automatically. Clicking this button will open up a new tab or window, taking us to that shared map. And as we see, the filter tool is actually the only tool we have in here. They can close it, but it's right back where it belongs. We have salesperson, name, date, and multiple categories. If you remember, I hid the sales in the filter tool as well earlier in this video. And when we come in here, we're going to see that sales is missing in here as well as latitude and longitude. They will have the ability to do that location finder search, and they will be able to search and find their zip code, city and state, or anything else. They will see those 15 locations. If they filter it, they will see those 15 locations adjust. So this is all what they're going to do. If they exit the map or refresh the map, everything will go back to center exactly the way you initially shared it. So nothing they do saves. If you update your admin map, then the shared map will automatically be updated. When you're ready to share, we can go in here for share map. You can share with your team or share externally. In this case, we're going to talk about externally. Sharing with your team is if you have multiple licenses, and they will have editing capabilities as well with this share. So share externally gives them no editing capabilities. Password protected, the map can only have one password. So even if you give it to several people, they're all going to receive the same password that you've entered. Public doesn't mean public. Let's do that again. Public doesn't mean public. Nobody's Googling your company and finding your maps in Maptive. This just simply means when they receive the link, all they will have to do is click on the link to open the map. The same goes for the embedded map, which I will show you in a moment. You can share your default map. Most maps go this way. The current map view is either if you have routes on the map or if you're filtering that map for that view. Really, everything else is going to be your default map generally. If you're not sure, reach out to us. We're happy to help. You can email the map link right from Maptive, or you can simply copy and paste the link into your own email. This button will give you split screen, and if you missed it, the embed is actually in map settings under shared and presentation maps, and it's going to be way at the bottom, and that is this button. Again, you can set it password protected or public. Public usually makes the most sense for the embedded, and then you'll get that iframe to embed it on your website. A Account settings is where you can change the name of company name, your first name, your last name, your email, or change password and things. You don't need to change the password to do the rest of it. You can access help with the help button. You can chat live with us. You can get to our FAQs, which is our tutorials, and you can contact us. And this is your log out button. Of course, you've got the data tab that you can get to, showing the data that you've got attached to this map, and you can always go back to your home screen. You can create new maps from wherever you are. You can also access live chat from here. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We hope you enjoyed the demo. Bye.